Hi there and welcome to the panel show's It's All Art. I'm here with the incredibly hilarious and talented Tristan Barr. He is the director and producer of Australia's first ever one-shot feature film. Is that not incredible? It actually makes me a little bit anxious talking about it because I can't even imagine how you would do that. So can you tell us a little bit about you and
you don't have to be anxious.
And your production company and how you got into the film business? Please tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so Watch the Sunset started a few years ago. Just a couple of acting graduates from the VCA and I. We wanted to write this film and I wanted to direct, and we started location scouting, and it started that every scene would be one shot, and I wanted this like really slow burn, and we kind of are led into the lives of these two unlikely, young adults that are troubled through drugs and crime, and then basically the DP said to me, "Why don't we do it all in one?" And I said, "That's ridiculous. We'll never do that." And then we location scouted a few other locations. We could actually join the story up and managed to move the camera inside and outside this car. So we go to 9 different locations in this.
9?
Yeah. In this country town. It's in regional Victoria. It was shot in this small town called Kerrang, and we had 82 people from the town come every day and be a part of our film.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah. So you actually brought the people in the town in to be part of the creative industry, which is so cool.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing for them.
It was so funny because they were kind of scattered as extras, and they're in the church scene, and in a part of this choir in the film. And every day we would shoot at 3:45 in the afternoon just so the light would be right. And it's funny because I wouldn't see any of the extras before the take, and then we would the story would move through them, and then they would go home, and so I literally didn't get to meet any of them until the screening.
Oh my God.
And the film's quite dark, and towards the end it really kind of this bikie gang catches up with the family that's kind of been reunited, and a young girl's kidnapped, and so a lot of the town members didn't realise how dark the film was as well. Right. So it was funny when they saw the screening, they were like, "That was brilliant," but we didn't expect that.
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's out on Stan at the moment.
Amazing. It's an incredible achievement as well.
Yeah,
it's really good. Yeah. So what, for you in terms of filmmaking, I know you studied at VCA, which is the Victorian College of the Arts, for those who don't know. Was it the desire to be part of the creative industry and make work for yourself that got you to getting into filmmaking? Because you're actually one of the actors in the film as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Which, I mean, this guy, like...
What was that, an audience
just
cheering?
The crowd goes wild. We have a stadium behind us.
I should get you to do Foley on my next film. It's like,
please
audience.
don't. One of my skills, put that on my resume. Yeah. Can make stadium noise. Good. Sign her up. So was it the need or desire to create work for yourself and your friends? Because for me as an actor, it's the reason I'm getting into producing and filmmaking myself is to first get myself a job, and secondly to work with all my mates, because why wouldn't you want to do that? Especially Queenslanders. Are you a Queenslander?
I am.
Originally, yeah. We have this very mateship kind of like, come on guys, let's go do this thing, and I think that's really, really important. So was it like that for you? Is that what kind of got you into the filmmaking industry?
Yeah, I acted in a film, and the director was having, and I won't say what film it was, but the director was having these nervous breakdowns.
Which is,
It's quite, it happens. Yeah. Why do we do what we do?
I don't know.
But
I need to rethink my life.
Me too. So we
Directed.
We directed ourselves in this film, pretty much. Like
Wow.
50% of the film is directed by me and this other actor who are the
Wow.
lead characters. And after that film, I was like, I think I can make the shift.
I can do this.
Yeah. And so I directed a few shorts, and you know, while studying at VCA, I always had kind of my filmmaker hat on while I was doing the acting training, and yeah, that kind of evolved into Watch the Sunset, and yeah, now I kind of produce and direct a lot more than I act. It's just because this ugly mug. You
Oh,
know,
shut up. Shut up.
Hollywood doesn't want this, I tell you what.
Oh, my God. No, it's an interesting look.
Oh, it's character face.
I get that too. It's like good looking but not modelly good looking. You know, it's like hot but not too hot.
Yeah. What?
I don't know what that
sort
is.
of unreasonable expectations they have on us.
I can't live up to them.
I'm not gonna have a six-pack. Like that's heaps of work.
It's too hard.
I can't produce and have a six-pack. That's just insane.
No, you can't live on coffee and bagels alone and have a six-pack. It's not possible.
Yeah.
I love it. And what are you passionate about outside of filmmaking? I mean, obviously, us creatives, we tend to get completely immersed in the industry, but are there other things that you're passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, I try and keep like involved in sporting activities and things like that, just to
got to keep the mind right.
Yeah. I think
those endorphins, powerful things.
Yeah.
It helps the existential crisis when it sets in.
It does. I think that's what exercise is for me. It's helping the existential crisis. So, I mean, I still haven't figured that out. So I'll keep exercising and playing sport
forever.
You know, yeah.
Whenever that is.
Yeah. But maybe that's the thing, you know how like actors, I mean, a lot of actors are really dark, and the suicide rate is...
Oh, it's horrific.
It's insane. But, you know, I think that's part of the challenge of this kind of business is how do you keep that positive mindset?
Yeah, completely.
Because you really need to be like reaching out and putting yourself out there so much, but when you're kind of... And the best work comes from these dark places and stuff. So it's this real kind of...
Yeah, it's a dance, isn't it? It's, you know, we feel so much as artists. We have a thin skin. You know, we feel and we hear and we smell and we taste and we touch in such a different way, which can then be completely overwhelming and quite damaging and dangerous if you don't have the tools or the skills to manage your internal world. So it's interesting that, you know, someone said to me once, you have to have a talent for your talent. And I think that really describes the necessity for creatives to be able to find those ways to self-soothe in a world that maybe doesn't necessarily support that. And of course, collaborative work is really important too, because you've got that network around you that you can reach out to and say, hey, not coping today.
Totally. Yeah, you need that. And you need people who kind of are going to support that when you're kind of going through. And I think that's it's a good reminder. And I think that's why if you know, we can bring more of a community to like creating stuff and helping each other out. I mean, that's usually where a lot of amazing stuff's created. I think, you know, if you look at a lot of the films that, you know, have these massive budgets and stuff, like, of course they're getting the names and you know, these kind of marketable things in them, but I think what really brings a spirit and like a, you know, something that's intangible without finance is those things, is like, you know, bringing together people that aren't in it for the money, who are just there to kind of commit to the craft no matter what. And when you find those people, you kind of want to have a project ready to go.
Totally.
you know.
Totally.
And I think sometimes, and I think since Watch the Sunset came out, and I was lucky enough that it did like a great festival circuit, and I got represented in the States, and I've kind of done all the town meetings and things like that over there, which was a kind of a whirlwind of a time. But I think what I've come back to after that is that That's kind of like the business side, and you need to do that, but
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily allow you or guide you to make good stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's it's that balance between the business and the creative. It's like the masculine and the feminine, you know, like we have to be able to figure out what that balance is. And I think that's a lifelong journey, and that's kind of what's so cool about being a creative is you never really figure it out. And even when you think you get close, you go, no. I don't have it at all.
Yeah.
And the older you get, the more you realise you don't know anything at all. And it's, you know, it's kind of cool. Well, this has been an absolutely beautiful chat.
It has.
And
we were joking so much
I
before
know.
this, and it got real deep.
yeah, it got real deep real quick. But I love that, you know,
Yeah.
authentic. And thank you for giving us a little bit of your time and
No,
sharing
that's
your
just-
gifts with the world, you know, because that does take a lot of courage as well. So thanks for jumping in, Tristan. And
Yeah, cheers.
we'll see you guys soon.
Cheers. Thank you.